Wide open roads, serious rules. Get your Wyoming CDL right. Like, subscribe, and let's roll.
Question 1. The Wyoming CDL Manual allows the use of a farm exemption to operate a combination vehicle across state lines. True or false? False. Wyoming's farm exemption applies only to interstate operation. It does not authorize interstate travel. Question 2. Air tanks must be drained regularly to remove oil and water accumulation. True or false? True. Moisture and oil buildup can reduce braking efficiency and may cause system failure, especially in cold conditions. Question 3. You are allowed to use the trailer hand valve for parking a trailer. True or false? False. The trailer hand valve is not designed for parking. It can release unintentionally and allow the trailer to move. Question 4. The Wyoming CDL skills test includes 3 segments: pre-trip inspection, basic control skills, and on-road driving. True or false? True. You must pass each segment in sequence to complete the CDL skills test. Question 5. The minimum tread depth for front tires on a commercial vehicle in Wyoming is 2/32 of an inch. True or false? False. Steer tires must have at least 4/32 inch of tread. 2/32 inch applies to other positions. Question 6. Combination vehicles are more susceptible to crack the whip rollovers than single-unit trucks. True or false? True. The rear trailer can swing violently if not controlled, increasing rollover risk. Question 7. The air leakage rate for a combination vehicle with brakes release should not exceed 1 psi per minute. True or false? False. For combination vehicles with brakes released, up to 3 psi per minute is allowed. Question 8. Wyoming requires a school bus driver to pass both knowledge and skills tests specific to the S endorsement. True or false? True. Drivers must demonstrate school bus specific safety knowledge and driving ability before transporting passengers. Question 9. The Wyoming CDL Manual permits CDL holders to transport hazardous materials with a temporary license. True or false? False. Transporting hazardous materials requires a valid hazmat endorsement and TSA clearance. Temporary or learner permits don't qualify. Question 10. If the low air pressure warning system fails to activate before pressure drops below 55 psi, the vehicle is still considered safe. True or false? False. The warning must activate between 55 and 75 psi. Failure to do so is a serious safety defect. Question 11. Anti-lock braking systems ABS prevent will lock up during emergency braking. True or false? True. ABS helps drivers maintain steering control during hard braking, especially on slippery surfaces. Question 12. Drivers operating tank vehicles in Wyoming must obtain a separate CDL class, not just an endorsement. True or false? False. A tank vehicle requires an endorsement, not a different CDL class, unless weight or cargo dictates it. Question 13. Hazmat placards must be visible on all four sides of a vehicle transporting hazardous materials. True or false? True. Placards ensure visibility for emergency responders and compliance with federal transport regulations. Question 14. An engine retarder Jake brake can be safely used on icy or wet roads to assist braking. True or false? False. Engine retarders can cause drive wheel lockup on slippery surfaces, increasing the risk of a skid. Question 15. Wyoming law requires CDL holders to report out-of-state traffic convictions to the DOT within 30 days. True or false? True. This aligns with federal requirements that all CDL drivers report violations outside their licensing state. Question 16. The fifth wheel locking jaws should be visibly closed around the trailer kingpin during coupling. True or false? True. A visual inspection ensures that the coupling is secure and prevents accidental trailer detachment. Question 17. Triple trailer combinations are allowed on all Wyoming highways. True or false? False. Triples are restricted to specific roadways designated by the state and are not allowed universally. Question 18. The stab braking method should be used with vehicles equipped with ABS. True or false? False. ABS requires steady brake pressure. Stabbing can interfere with the system and reduce effectiveness. Question 19. Wyoming CDL applicants must pass a vision screening with at least 20/40 acuity in each eye. True or false? True. Meeting minimum vision requirements ensures safe operation of commercial vehicles on public roads. Question 20. During coupling, it is acceptable for the trailer to be slightly higher than the fifth wheel. True or false? False. The trailer should be slightly lower to allow the tractor to lift it into proper position during hookup. Question 21. Drivers under the age of 21 in Wyoming may hold a CDL for interstate operations only. True or false? True. Interstate driving and hazmat hauling require a minimum age of 21, while 18 to 20-year-olds may drive within state limits. Question 22. A CDL is not required if the commercial vehicle is operated only on private property. True or false? True. CDL requirements apply only to public roadways, not private land. Question 23. The emergency air line supplies air to the service brakes during normal braking. True or false? False. The emergency line supplies air for trailer air tanks and activates spring brakes during emergencies, not for regular braking. Question 24. You must downshift before entering a curve or steep downgrade to maintain control. True or false? True. Proper gear selection before entering these zones helps avoid brake overuse and keeps the vehicle stable. Question 25. The Wyoming CDL Manual states that rollover risk is highest when a tank vehicle is more than 3/4 full. True or false? False. Partial loads in tanks can surge and shift, increasing rollover risk due to unstable weight distribution. Question 26. Using your mirrors regularly is not necessary if your truck is equipped with lane departure warning systems. True or false? False. Technology is not a substitute for constant visual monitoring. Drivers must use mirrors frequently for safety and legal compliance. Question 27. You must complete a new pre-trip inspection each time you begin a new driving shift, even if it's the same vehicle. True or false? True. A pre-trip inspection is required at the beginning of each shift to ensure the vehicle is roadworthy before operation. Question 28. If the ABS malfunction light stays on after starting your CMV, it is safe to proceed as long as the brakes feel normal. True or false? False. An illuminated ABS warning indicates the system may be compromised and must be inspected before driving. Question 29. In Wyoming, you can operate a CMV with a Class C CDL if the GVWR is under 26,001 pounds and the vehicle is placarded for hazardous materials. True or false? True. Class C covers small vehicles that carry hazmat or 16-plus passengers, even if under the Class A/B weight thresholds. Question 30. Slack adjusters that move more than 1 inch during a manual brake check need adjustment. True or false? True. Manual slack adjusters must not exceed 1 inch of movement at the pushrod when pulled with hand force. Question 31. The Wyoming Manual allows use of a seatbelt only if driving in urban areas. True or false? False. Seatbelt use is mandatory for CDL drivers at all times, no exceptions based on location. Question 32. Tires with exposed fabric or cord are considered safe if the tread depth is legal. True or false? False. Exposed fabric or cord is an out-of-service violation and indicates structural failure regardless of tread. Question 33. The air compressor in an air brake system is powered by the vehicle's engine. True or false? True. Most air compressors are gear or belt driven by the engine and run whenever the engine operates. Question 34. A triple trailer configuration requires a separate endorsement on your Wyoming CDL. True or false? True. Operating doubles or triples requires a special endorsement and written exam on coupling and stability. Question 35. Hazardous materials can be left unattended as long as the vehicle is locked. True or false? False. Many hazmat loads may not be left unattended on public highways, even if locked per federal security requirements. Question 36. Hydraulic brake systems must be topped off only with DOT-approved brake fluid. True or false? True. Using non-approved fluid can damage seals and cause brake failure. Question 37. The Wyoming CDL Manual requires that you test the trailer service brakes before driving away. True or false? True. A tug test and trailer brake check must be performed to ensure coupling and braking are secure. Question 38. When driving a combination vehicle, the rear trailer is the least likely to swing out in a turn. True or false? False. The rear trailer is the most likely to swing due to off-tracking and trailer whip effects. Question 39. During the vehicle inspection test, checking for missing or damaged safety equipment is optional. True or false? False. Safety equipment, like fire extinguishers, fuses, and reflective triangles, is required to be present and functional. Question 40. Placards must be removed or covered when the hazardous material has been completely unloaded and the tank is purged. True or false? True. Placards are only valid when the material is still present. Otherwise, they give false information to responders. Question 41. When hauling livestock, sharp turns and sudden stops should be avoided to minimize animal stress and trailer shift. True or false? True. Gentle handling preserves both vehicle stability and animal welfare during transport. Question 42. It's acceptable to use the spring brakes to slow the vehicle on a downgrade. True or false? False. Spring brakes are for parking/emergency use and are not designed to slow a moving vehicle. Question 43. You must carry a medical examiner's certificate only if you drive across state lines. True or false? False. Wyoming requires all CDL holders, regardless of route, to be medically qualified and carry proof. Question 44. When stopped at a railroad crossing, drivers should shift into neutral to prevent rollback. True or false? True. Shifting into neutral while stopped at a rail crossing helps prevent clutch error or unintended motion. Question 45. A broken leaf spring in the suspension system is not serious unless the ride feels bumpy. True or false? False. Even a single broken spring is a serious defect and must be repaired before the vehicle is driven. Question 46. Drivers hauling explosives must avoid parking near bridges, tunnels, or crowded areas unless absolutely necessary. True or false? True. Federal and state rules restrict parking of explosive loads in high-risk areas to minimize public danger. Question 47. The Wyoming CDL Manual allows automatic transmission vehicles to be used for the skills test without restriction. True or false? False. If tested in an automatic, your CDL will be restricted to automatic transmission only. Question 48. A CMV must be equipped with a spare electrical fuse unless it uses circuit breakers. True or false? True. Spare fuses are part of mandatory safety equipment unless the vehicle relies solely on circuit breakers. Question 49. Brake fade only occurs in older vehicles without ABS. True or false? False. Brake fade can occur in any vehicle when brakes overheat from excessive use, even if equipped with ABS. Question 50. A clean driving record is required to apply for a hazardous materials endorsement in Wyoming. True or false? True. TSA background checks disqualify applicants with certain felony or driving histories from receiving a hazmat endorsement.
You've got this. If you want to be fully prepped, grab your cheat sheet or roll into the next practice round.